So over the past few days, I've been aiding the university that I used to coach at, Shawnee State University, in planning a celebration or a recognition of the 25th anniversary of the team that I was fortunate enough to coach that finished fifth at the World Series. And to date, it's still the most successful team in school history in baseball. And so, as often happens when I go and look at things from the past, I reflect, I get maybe a little nostalgic, but I also get curious. And so I looked at kind of how that journey went and saw how much it runs parallel to what I see with business owners. My first couple of years, I kind of just tried to do what everybody else does. I was young. I was the youngest head coach in the country. My first season, I just turned 23. And so I wasn't all that confident in kind of carving my own path and trying to play to my strengths. I just kind of tried to mimic what I thought would work. And that approach was kind of, I guess, insufficient because I didn't have as much experience as the people that I was modeling. I didn't have the same caliber of resources. We had the smallest budget in the conference. We didn't offer scholarships, and everybody else in our division, let alone in our conference, did. We were just very underfunded and under resourced, and so trying to do the same things that everybody else was doing meant that we were probably going to perform at a lower level than they were, because if we're playing the exact same game by the same rules and you have more resources, more experience, then you probably win. So at the conclusion of my second season, which both of the first seasons were fine, they were okay. We won more than we lost, but it was kind of underwhelming, right? It was not very much like you would see with a business owner. It's, hey, this isn't what I dreamed of. This isn't what I imagined when I got into it. So I just decided I was going to take a different approach. I said, okay, what are our strengths? What can we do that leverage the strengths that we had? And for me, the university that we were at, I think, was favorable to first generation college students. It was a state university, so there was a lower cost of attendance, even though we didn't have scholarships. It was a time in my life where I was really willing to put a lot of hours into it. So the approach I could take to recruiting was different. Just so many things, from the way that we developed players to the type of player we recruited. Just, I'm going to play to the strengths that I have, the market that we're in. There were things that I could leverage to do well. And at that point, things just skyrocketed. The next four seasons, we were nationally ranked. We had probably still to date four of the top 6 or 7 seasons in school history, all back to back. And it culminated in the season that I alluded to us doing a reunion celebration for. And I think that I've seen this play out year after year with hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners. They try to just model somebody else. They just say, I'm going to do what this person does because they're successful, and don't adapt things to their circumstances, their strengths, the things that I think that could allow them to be different and be better. Instead, they settle for being a mediocre imitation of somebody else. And on the flip side, if I look at the best business owners that we've worked with through the years, the private clients that I've had, the people that Doug Sperling and I work with in boardroom, the number of businesses that I've coached, consulted for over the last 2 decades, they're all kind of their own category of one. They've all said, yeah, we are all for learning best practices from other people. They're not just trying to reinvent the wheel, but they're all self-aware enough to say, how do we adapt this to us? How do we double down on the things that we're good at? How do we leverage our strengths and make them a competitive advantage? And that sort of thing has allowed people to build tremendous businesses, really kind of insulate themselves or create a moat that nobody else can breach in their market. They're not just going to get pushed into being a commodity. They're not going to have to be competing on price and getting lumped in with everybody else. And I think that I was incredibly fortunate to learn that early on in my professional life. But it's a lesson that if you're not fully committed to it, you really should be, because borrowing somebody else's blueprint verbatim really only works well if you're also borrowing their DNA, right? Like if you are becoming that person. Because I mean, I saw this a number of times when I'd try to go take public speaking courses, and I would think, okay, I need to be this public speaker in the kind of lane of some of these big keynote speakers that talk in these short little tight vignettes, and they are really boisterous and energetic on stage. And I'm like, it's not really what I do. It's not playing to my strengths. And I'm never going to be as good at these guys at doing this, because this is what they're passionate about. And I'm just trying to kind of fit myself like a square peg in this round hole. And instead I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to change. And if I'm doing public speaking, I'm essentially just coaching people from the stage, because that's what I love. That's what I do every day. And it's not so much about creating this perfectly choreographed 100-slide presentation. It's about making sure the people in the audience are better when they leave than when they arrived. And once I started doing that, it got incredibly comfortable for me to be in that setting, and it became fun instead of kind of a chore. And I would tell you that this holds true in everything that you do, and everything that we're doing as business owners as a whole. If you want to build something you love owning, you love operating, you've got to take the circumstances you have, take the strengths that you have, and adapt proven principles, processes, systems, adapt those to you. Don't feel like you have to completely adapt to them. Now, I'm not giving you the get out of jail free card where you don't have to, hey, I don't love numbers, so I'm not going to manage my business by the numbers. No, you probably have to do the things that are musts to work. But does that mean that you can adapt how you manage by the numbers, that you can adapt how you market and play to your strengths, whether it's writing or video or networking or whatever else? Yes, that is how we need to approach this. I mean, some things are non-negotiables, but a lot of things in business you can modify within reason to really make the most of the circumstances and strengths you have. And when you do that, you'll see everything about your business become better.